Flipside by Bedhead, Chapter 7. The sun seemed to be taking its time on its daily journey, although it was trying to make the afternoon last as long as possible. Still, nothing could stop its slow arc through the sky. All it could do was continue to shine for the last few hours left. At that moment, it was shining down on the cloudless sky on the trail leading to the library. Spike's hoofs gently caught against the ground as his notepad hovered by his side. The come-to-life enchantment was working perfectly. His writing instruments had already recorded a few more pages of the interview. "So, wait," he said, staring at the Pegasus walking next to him in disbelief. "You're saying Rainbow Dash is actually good for the weather team?"
"I'm not gonna lie. It's a pain when she just runs off,"
Thunderlane answered with a shrug of his wings.
"But every pony in town will tell you she gets the job done faster than anything when she's working."
"Every pony, huh?" Spike asked, looking over the transcripts with noticeable disappointment. So much for an expose.
"Didn't you say that this was about the Summer Sun celebration?"
Thunderlane asked, raising an eyebrow in confusion. Spike's quills ceased writing, with the notepad floating in front of him. He resisted the urge to face Hoof. Uncertain if he should take another bruise. Instead, from the first page or so, most of his notes were regarding Rainbow Dash's apparently well-known reputation around Ponyville. "At least I got the stuff I could use first," Spike said with a groan as he put away his pad.
"Thanks for that, at least." No problem,"
Thunderlane said, clearing his throat awkwardly as he approached the old oak tree.
"Oh look, we're here."
Spike looked up, the little treehouse standing in front of him. He could vaguely recall Time Turner mentioning something about the library's history. Whatever the officious Earth Pony had said, Spike had to admit it was impressive to look at. He could only guess just what sort of work must have gone in hauling out the large tree. Thunderlane didn't hesitate, leaning right up to the door. Spike took a quick glance around and tapped his hoof against the ground.
"Huh, that's weird,"
he commented, checking the sun's persistence again. Twilight should have been here by now.
"Maybe she's inside," Thunderlane suggested. "It is a public library."
Spike looked at the tree one more time before giving a shrug. Twilight does like books, he admitted, walking over to join the Pegasus. The two stallions walked in, and Spike had a moment to look around. The inside of the library was no surprise to him. Enough books on the shelves that one could be forgiven for thinking it was wallpaper. The afternoon sun was streaming in through the windows. Highlighting Twilight pressed up against the far wall, surrounded by a herd of fillies and colts. The dragoness's eyes widened as he saw Spike, and broke through the group at a surprising burst of speed. The unicorn let out a strange squawk of surprise as he managed to swing around his neck and onto his back. "Hide me!" as he frantically whispered, clinging to his mane. Before Spike could respond, he found himself surrounded by roughly a dozen foals. Thunderlane had jumped to the side and was staring in shock as they all chattered at once. Spike couldn't move for all the tiny bodies around him, struggling to get a glimpse of Twilight as she dug his claws into her back. "All right, my little ponies, settle down," a kindly voice called out. "You all know better than that." Mercifully, the voles evaded the voice, and Spike sighed of relief as he backed away. A purple-coated mare was coming down a flight of stairs. She wore a caring smile to match the flowers of her cutie mark. Spike could hear several muttered apologies from the foals as he walked to the mare's side. "Ah, you must be the friend Twilight was waiting for," the mare said, extending one hoof. "Purple Prose, wasn't it? I'm Charlie."
Hi,"
he said, taking the hoof shake as he looked back at Twilight. The dragon's grip loosened considerably, and she was leaning heavily against his neck. She gave him a relieved-looking smile and flashed a thumbed-up-looking claw to him. Spike released Charlie's hoof and gave Twilight a playful nudge in response.
"So, what was that all about?"
Thunderlane asked, right before Spike could have the chance. "Well," Charlie began, but before a chorus of little voices called out,
"She's a dragon!"
a tubby unicorn's colt spoke up. "And she wanted to ask us questions," added another filly.
"Is she your pet?"
asked another unicorn. Spike had a stunned look at being mobbed by so many questions, could feel Twilight tensing up again. Charlie placed herself between the young ponies and stallion, the foals quickly falling silent. "Now, students," she said, her patient smile never fading. Why don't we leave Mr. Prose and Miss Twilight to their work? You all have to finish those drawings for your parents after all. Shirley ushered the Foals towards the other side of the library. Twilight let out a sigh of relief, slipping heavily against Spike's back.
Are you alright?
Spike asked, looking her over with a worried expression.
How long were you waiting for me?
Not too long, Twilight answered, wiping her brow. I just thought I'd start interviewing Shirley in her class for the article while I waited.
Then you got a little too curious, huh?
Spike guessed, nuzzling her a bit. You didn't have to put yourself through that. Twilight just nodded, her eyelids dripping a bit.
Is she gonna be okay?
Thunderlane asked, concerned in his eyes as he watched Spike at the dragon.
She looks pretty beat. She has been since sunrise,
Spike realized, rubbing his chin.
I don't think she even slept on the train ride for Canterlot.
Well, no wonder she's tired then, Shirley chimed in. Spike and Thunderlane looked up with a start. The purple mare students were now sequestered away from the stairs, working on various crayon drawings. Shirley herself had walked over, and was tutting over Twilight. Poor dear, she said with a nod towards the stairs, levering her mane bouncing a bit. There's a private study room upstairs, if you like. It would be a fine spot for her to nap.
Really?
Spike asked, shoulders relaxing a bit.
That'd be great.
Rumble is up there, too, Shirley said, turning to Thunderlane with a smile fading a bit. I tried getting him to play with the others, but he noticed how late you were. Thunderlane winced his waist slipping a little.
It's no problem, Shirley. I'll go get him,
he said, starting up the stairs. Shirley bit down on her lip before following after the Pegasus. Spike watched the two start upstairs, wondering whether or not to follow. South clatter a hose drew his attention, though. Looking over, he could see some of the students getting up from their drawings. Gazes locked on him. Spike swallowed hard, the decision made. He climbed up the stairs as quickly as he could without Twilight falling off. He could just make out the voice of a colt shouting something as he climbed. The purple unicorn wasn't surprised to find more bookshelves at the top of the stairs. The room was much smaller than the main floor, though it did have a second level. Thunderlane and Shirley were standing at the bottom of the stairs leading to it. A pale gray Pegasus colt looking at the window above them. Now Rumble, Shirley said, tone still gentle and patient. Don't you think you're being unfair?
It's not like I wanted to be late, bro.
Thunderlane added, flapping his wings and hovering next to the bench. The colt let out and continued looking at the window. Spike softly walked in, looking at Shirley. So you had to clear out your whole town on your own? Rumble asked, not turning around. You can't come up with anything better?
I know it sounds unbelievable,
Thunderlane sighed as he landed.
I can't believe even I managed to do it. Having a little trouble?
Spike whispered to the school teacher. Shirley looked at the unicorn stallion, mouth drawn tight. You could see her struggling with how to face the situation. Rumble is just a little upset, Shirley finally whispered back. Thunderlane usually manages to calm him down, though. I wouldn't worry. Thunderlane raced towards a hoof towards Rumble, only for the colt to scoot away from him. Spike once as the stallion stamped his hoof against the ground, eyes narrowing.
Come on, enough of that!
Thunderlane insisted, his voice raising.
You're acting like a brat, Rumble!
Rainbow Dash could have cleared the sky on her own,
Rumble responded, turning on his brother. Spike turned to Shirley, but his voice quickly shriveled before he could speak. The teacher had a stern gaze on the two Pegasi, a gaze Spike was all too familiar with, as well as the tone of voice that normally followed.
Guess we'll never know,
Spike jumped in before Shirley could.
Seeing as your brother handled it first.
The two grown-up ponies looked at the Spike into belief. Shirley in particular seemed confused as to what he was doing. Purple Unicorn just smiled, lifting his press pass from his hat once more.
Purple Prose, reporting for the Canterlot Sun,
Spike said, the slip floating in front of Rumble.
Thunderlane did me a favor by letting him interview him about the cloud clearing today.
Spike floated the pass back to himself, as Rumble looked back from him to Thunderlane. Shirley smiled as Spike flashed her a wink.
Yeah, your brother's going to get into the paper and everything,
Spike continued, as he tucked his pass back into his place.
You can ask Time Tur, he was there too.
The colt's lower lip quivered as Thunderlane tossed his mane.
You have no idea how hard it was trying to get it revved up, he said, lifting his hoof from Rumble's head. And I was still late. I probably should have told Time Turner to find some pony else.
Spike smirked as Thunderlane was cut off by his brother jumping him. The colt wrapped his forehoofs around his brother in a hug. Thunderlane seemed stunned into silence. Valley smiled and returned the embrace. Spike gave himself a mental pat on the back.
I'm sorry I didn't believe you.
Rumble apologized as Thunderlane lifted him onto his back.
Yeah, well,
Thunderlane nudged the colt with one of his wings.
You're going to bed early tonight for calling me a liar, mister.
Rumble hung his head, waiting for Thunderlane to give him a nuzzling laugh.
And so that you don't sleep through the sun rising,
he said as he started towards the stairs.
No fair.
Rumble complained, though Spike could see him smiling.
You're still staying up all night.
Thunderlane still isn't in grade school. Shirley spoke up, eyes friendly once more. Now, you two promised me no more fighting, all right?
All right,
Rumble said, with a quick nod of his head.
You got it,
Thunderlane answered, before nodding to Spike.
Thanks, Prose.
Thank you for your help, Spike said, shaking a hoof shake with the Pegasus.
Guess I'll be seeing you above at the sun rising? Get it,
Thunderlane said, turning back towards the stairs.
Time to say goodbye, Rumble.
bye, Miss Shirley.
Rumble said, waving as he headed downstairs.
Bye, Mr. Prose.
Spike waved as he left, until he felt something squirming on his back. Stacy heard himself from surprise, looking back at Twilight through disbelief. She had one thumb clawed in her mouth. It was drooling a bit on Spike's mane. Excuse me 1 sec.
Aww! You actually slept through that?
He asked the dragon, only for some light snoring to answering him. And you say I'm lazy. I think she'll be more comfortable up here, Shirley's voice offered from the second level. The purple mare was gesturing to the bench Rumble had been waiting on. Spike smiled, his horns sparking and carefully lifting Twilight into the air. Supported by the green aura, she slowly floated down on the bench before gently settling into it. Shirley came back down the steps, smiling at Spike. That was really sweet of you to help Thunderlane, she praised. Are you sure you don't have some experience dealing with foals?
It was nothing. I was just paying you back for helping me,
Spike explained, just pumping out a bit of the praise.
What about you? You're pretty cool at handling all those little ponies downstairs.
Oh, it's nothing special. Shirley answered with a slight blush. My students might be a bit energetic, but they're all sweethearts. The teacher started downstairs again. Spike fell a step behind her. I'm just sorry they scared Twilight, Shirley apologized, leaning away. Is he going to be all right?
Twilight? Oh, sure,
Spike said with a wave of his hoof.
She'll feel much better after a little nap.
Secretly, he glanced back up the stairs. There were no sounds coming from there, and the room did have a few books in it. He shook his head and pushed his fears aside.
So, Ponyville Falls still have classes today?
He asked as he reached the floor.
Even Canterlot would get a day off.
Mr. Prose, you're such a kidder. Shirley responded for a laugh. No, I'm just handling full sitting today. So many parents have work to do before the big party after all. Spike was thankful for his big purple coat, hiding the worst of his blush. He noticed several of the fillies and colts were coming over, gripping crayon drawings. Shirley turned to each of them, looking over the crude scribbles. Oh, now aren't those looking lovely? She said to the children. The little ponies all wore proud smiles, several thank yous coming in response. Spike just chuckled a bit as Shirley gave each of the foals a brief hug as they came to her in turn.
I can see why Twilight wanted to interview you, Spike commented. Don't suppose you mind if I pick up where she left off?
I would have guessed you already had, Shirley answered with a gesture to the quill, floating by his head. Spike looked to the feather and paper, only now realizing he even pulled them out again. Unicorn could feel his cheeks burning again, but the sensation quickly faded. The foals were beginning to crowd around him, and another bevy of questions seemed inevitable. Celestia gazed down from her chariot. She could see the hamlet of Ponyville growing closer by the moment. Her eyes wandered away from the ponies, waiting down there in town square to greet her. She looked down at the horizon. The sun was getting low. It had been so long since she had raced it that morning. Thanks to her request, it had been hours since leaving Canterlot. Now it felt like it had only been moments ago. A part of her was screaming inside, begging her to not let it set. That if she only left it in the sky, nothing would happen. No, she whispered, too softly for even the Pegasi pulling her chariot to hear. There was an order to things. Much more dire consequences would await if she listened to that voice. The white Alicorn's horn shimmered, and the sun began sinking below the horizon. Hold up here for one moment, please, she called to the lead Pegasus. 4 guards pulled to a halt, wings flapping in practiced strokes to keep themselves and the chariot aloft. Celestia bowed her head as the western sky was tinged of fiery red and gold. If this was be Equestria's last sunset, then let it be one worth remembering. Spike could finally understand why Twilight was so tired. Though he tried not to show it, the last few hours he spent downstairs felt like an eternity. Charlie was assisting him up the stairs with one of his hose over her back. I am so sorry, Mr. Prose. Charlie apologized as they reached the second floor. Guess my students are more excitable than I thought.
It's all right, really,
Spike said, as he moved to stand on his 4 hose again.
Didn't think I'd get this tired just from trying to have an interview.
Well, my students all seem to really enjoy talking to you,
Charlie pointed out.
Are you sure you don't need anything else before I go?
It's cool, really,
Spike insisted, trying not to slouch.
Twilight and I should be getting over our next interview soon.
Oh,
Charlie said, giving the stallion one last look over.
well, if you're sure, I'll see you at the celebration then.
Yeah, you bet,
Spike said, smiling as the teacher headed down the stairs. The moment she was out of sight, he sighed heavily and slumped against one of the bookshelves. A soft giggle from above drew his attention, and he looked up to find Twilight looking down at him.
When did you wake up?
He asked, climbing up the steps to the upper landing.
A few minutes before you came upstairs,
Twilight answered, giving him a smug grin. Not so easy dealing with all those fools, huh?
Oh, I don't know,
Spike choked, tussling against Dragonhead's spines.
I kind of made me feel like the feeling from magic school.
He struck a particularly garish pose, one hoof over his head.
Come one, come all, he intoned. See the great and powerful Spike and his amazing assistant, Twilight.
I don't sound like that. Not at all.
The tapping of claws on hard wood made him trail off. He let out a nervous chuckle as Twilight saw glaring at him. Her deep frown quickly made him clear his throat.
All right, that was bad,
he admitted, eyes starting to the side.
It's fine,
Twilight said as he slid back down onto the bench. Where to next?
Good question,
Spike said as he sat down next to her.
We could take another crack at interviewing Applejack, I guess, or...
His eyes went wide as he noticed the sun shining outside the window.
Whoa,
he breathed. Twilight turned around, having her eyes dazzled by the sunset outside. The horizon slowly melting from blazing yellow orange to a deeper purple. A few stars were twinkling above as the sun sank lower. Its warm light seemed to try and reach out one last time to the world.
wow,
She whispered, putting a claw in the window as she stared.
Princess Celestia's really outdoing herself this year.
The mention of the princess rang in Spike's ears. A smile formed on his muzzle.
That's it!
He shouted, Magic suddenly flipping Twilight into his back.
I know just who to talk to next!
Twilight grabbed the reporter's mane tight as he charged for the stairs. She could feel herself bumping against the back as he descended them 2 at a time.
Where are we going?
She managed to stammer out as he reached the glass floor.
Princess Celestia!
Spike answered, Magic already grabbing the doorknob.
Think about it, Twi. How great would an interview with the princess look in our article?
The front door flew open as Spike applied his magic. Rather than charging out the door, though, the stallion skidded to a halt. Twilight let out a shout as he was pitched to the ground. A set of hose belonging to a familiar pink mare filled her vision for a moment.
Surprise!
Pinkie Pie shouted, springing over Twilight and landing in front of Spike. Twilight rolled to her feet, dusting herself off just in time for a herd of ponies come trampling in. She just managed to leap aside as the ponies began setting out seats, napkins, streamers, and even a punch bowl. In a matter of moments, the entire library was set up for a rather festive-looking party.
Wait,
Spike struggled to find the words as he looked at the green mare before him.
you're Pinkie Pie, right?
What are you doing here?
Well,
Pinkie took a deep breath, as Spike suddenly found himself wishing he hadn't asked.
I'm actually at the train station. I had to go help out with the celebration, but you few ponies were talking about you looking around for interviews with the newspaper. So I got to thinking maybe I could throw you a big party and invite some of the ponies you haven't managed to speak yet.
Spike's eyes crossed as the pink earth pony explained herself all in one breath. He could feel his brain rouse. He tried to comprehend what was going on.
You're throwing an interview party.
He summed up, eyes returning to normal.
For me.
You betcha! So I make sure you get to know that you're at the party tonight.
Pinkie answered, bouncing in place.
Let me tell you, you're not an easy stallion to follow. I had to talk to Ditsy, Tiny Turner, Thunderling, to figure out where you went. Luckily, I ran into Cheerleader on the way here. She told me you were still at the library.
Twilight had managed to make her way through the crowd of ponies and climbed onto Spike's back. Stallion looked around those gathered, seeing them mostly mingling. A very substantial part of him was trying to guess just how Pinkie had gotten so many others to agree.
Well, thanks, really,
he said, trying to slide her toward the door.
I've just got a really important interview to get to.
You bet you do,
Pinkie said, grabbing his shoulders and spinning him away from the exit.
Mira agreed to show up before she has to meet the princess. Can't keep her waiting.
Twilight and Spike both looked at one another. The dragoness shrugged, and Pike lowered his head. It seemed like it would be futile, trying to escape the party planner's clutches.